Hey guys, welcome to Monster live session on Instagram and Facebook about wood fix and patch it. We'll just wait another few seconds when we're officially on 5:30 Eastern Standard Time. We'll get a start. So nearly on 5:30, about to start. So, hi guys, thanks for joining me. We're on the Monster Facebook and Instagram live session about wood fix and patch it. So appreciate you taking your time to come out. Lisa, thanks for joining. Marcus, thanks for joining. Great to see you guys. Wave back to you. So yeah, look, this is a product, or these are products and systems that have been very popular with our renovators and our Monster customers. And lots of inquiries come through weekly on these ones, and it's no surprise to us because they are unique and they perform so differently than anything else on the market, and they are uniquely belonging to Monster. But what I'd like to what I'd like to start with is the questions about what is WoodFix. We get that often because it's quite a unique product. So look, WoodFix is a product that's designed to be used on wood or timber surfaces. And what makes it so different is that it's chemical free. It's totally natural, and the beauty of the product is that when it's used, it's odorless, it's not flammable, it doesn't leave any toxins lying around. But the most important piece around it is that it allows wood and timber to be repaired that's been damaged by wood rot or moisture rot or damp rot. And for those of you that have experienced any timber surfaces that have been damaged by wood rot or timber rot, you'll know that what happens is moisture gets into the timber, absorbs into the timber, it swells the timber, and then after you've got that, Jesse's joined, how are you, Jesse? After you've gone into that and you get that situation where dampness has got into the wood, it starts to swell, it splits, it cracks, and it damages the finish effect, obviously. But it's not just the aesthetic look or the decorative look that it damages. What happens with wood when it's affected by moisture rot, it starts to harden, it stiffens, it attracts fungus, fungi I should say, and also termites and other bugs and borers that get into timber and wood, and they just continue the rotting process, so it just compounds from there. What WoodFix does, being a natural product, once it is applied to the wood timber itself, it won't harm or change the timber at all. What it does, it actually then gives you the ability to have a natural process where the strength is put back into the timber. And the product is very alkaline. And what happens with the alkalinity of the product, it actually stops any termites, white ants, borers, timber beetles from surviving in those environments because they like an acidic environment, and this is what it does to the timber. But more importantly, it starts to put the natural strength back into timber, and the process of timber being a living and breathing thing, it then repairs and heals itself. And that's one of the primary properties of the WoodFix product. And so it's very popular because it can come in contact with people, it can be used internally, it's none of these toxic wood preservatives that you see in the market with all these poisonous signs. There's nothing like that. You just need to wear gloves because it's quite alkaline. But safe to use inside or outside the home. And then once you've used that product, you need to allow the natural process to happen where the timber is repaired and it's sealed and it's preserved again. And that is the magic behind the WoodFix product. And it's not one of these products that you've got to be concerned about having in the garage or the shed where it could go up in flames. There's none of those risks at all. But the big opportunity with it is that it can go on timber that's been exposed to weather. You can put a second coat on it. You can put a third coat. You can even dip timber into it. We've had it used in the beehive industry where a lot of the beekeepers are using timber because bees are a natural animal or species that is very sensitive to chemicals, and so that's why beekeepers like use it on their wood and timber panels, because it doesn't harm the bees at all in any way, and there's no chance of any toxins or chemicals leaching back into the honey, and that's a real key piece for it. So that's why it's very popular amongst our renovators, because if you've found that you've pulled up old floors or you've got old timber outside, you've sanded timber down, you want to paint it, but you can see the splitting occurring, or you can see the timber is weak or rotted, you can remove that old timber, treat the wood fix onto the timber, preserve it, allow that process to happen, and that can happen over potentially one day to a couple months. It depends on how rotted the timber is and how affected it is. And then what you have from there is the ability to see the timber starting to strengthen. And then what you have is the ability to use our product, which is Patch-It. And Patch-It is a compound that was designed to go hand in hand with wood fix. So the wood fix is the product that you treat the timber with, put the strength back into it, kill all the fungi, ensure that it's a surface that's protected against white ants and bugs and bearers, or borers I should say, timber borers. And then what Patch-It does, Patch-It replaces the lost mass of the wood that's rotted. So windowsills are classic, doors that have been damaged from moisture. There's a video of me a little while back where I used it to repair an external joist over a patio, I should say, and where I pulled all the rotted timber out and then treated with wood fix and replaced the lost mass of timber with the Patch-It. The Patch-It, the big advantage of the Patch-It over what you've seen in the marketplace is the fact that what you have is a powder compound that you add a little bit of water to. You mix it up, you stir it up like a paste, and you can put it on with a spatula or a trowel and fill the rotted timber. So that void of timber that's been removed and gone away and is fully compatible with the wood fix. It replaces that lost timber, that lost mass, and then what you have is a situation where you can smooth it off, sand it off, but again, there's no toxic chemicals involved, which is what all our Monster products are about. So with Patch-It, if you've seen some of the bogging products that are in the marketplace where you have, they're like epoxies or resins where you've got to mix a part A, part B, and they smell like fiberglass. They're very toxic and dangerous to use. What you have with Patch-It is the ability that it has no odours, it's not toxic, it's not hazardous at all. Again, it can be used inside or outside. And when you've applied it, you spread it on, it starts to dry very quickly. You can sponge it off with a damp sponge. You can sand it, you can file it back, and then once it's dried, you can cut through it, you can nail through it. It has all the properties of these other traditional solvent, hazardous patching compounds have. I think a lot of them call themselves bogged products or bogging agents or whatever that can mean. But the more important issue about Patch-It is that it won't allow any hazardous odours. So if you've got children in the home, or if you come in contact where you've got to repair a windowsill potentially inside, or a door inside, or just any aged old timber that you're treating, you don't have to be concerned about flammability or any toxic chemicals leaching back in. And that's a big plus for the Patch-It product. And that's what makes it quite unique. The other part of it is that you can mix the powder up with water as you need it along. You don't have to keep having a limited life with what you have with some of these resin products, these fiberglass type resins. And so that's the big advantage of it. But more importantly, you can mix it up in bigger compounds. So if you've got a large void or a large hole in timber that you might have had to patch up, the advantage of Patch-It is that you can actually get a large portion of it with a spatula or trowel into it. You're not sort of mixing it up with a spoon or a knife, which I've seen some of these other resin products do. So this is a step ahead in the market on offering something that's completely different and left field, but it works beautifully with the wood fix product for the fact that you've got a natural preservative, you've got a non-hazardous patching compound. They work hand in hand together. Once your timber's been treated with wood fix, you can safely put the Patch-It on top of it, and it's fully compatible. Then once the patch is dried, you can sand it down, paint over it. If you wanted to stick things over it, you can adhere over it. It's that good that actually can even be used in immersed areas. The Patch-It compound, as much as it is used for timber surfaces, we even have customers use it in things like fish ponds or water features or timber posts that might be going in the ground, because it won't break down to constant moisture, and that is a big advantage of it, and it allows you to open up your eyes to many, many repairs with you doing renovations at home. A lot of you might be pulling up old carpets or vinyl. You see rotted timber down, whether it be the floorboards or the timber joists. This is the product to use. Both these products are there to use. First, treat any rotted timber you'd suspect under old floor coverings with wood fix, because at least you've got peace of mind that you've preserved it. You're protected against any future damage from white ants or fungi. And then if you need to, you can patch it up with the Monster Patch-It. We had a couple of questions that came through from us about both these products, and I'm really grateful for those customers that sent them through. One of them was asking about, is Woodfix and Patchett environmentally friendly? Well, they definitely are. Woodfix itself is completely environmentally friendly because it's only made from natural substances. So one of the big benefits of it is that in the future, if your timber goes into landfill or wood goes into landfill, it won't emit any toxic chemicals back into the atmosphere. And that's a big plus, and it's one of the things that we've been very happy with the Woodfix product and why we brought it to market, for the fact that it offers those properties. The Patchett product is environmentally friendly. It's not made of natural compounds, but it's made of nothing toxic, so quite safe to use. If you've got any leftover of it, once you've used it and any solid mass left, you just let it go hard. You can put it in a paper bag or a plastic bag and put it into waste, and there's nothing toxic about it. It actually won't rot at all. It won't add any chemicals into the atmosphere from that end, but it's a solid matter. The other question that came through, which was a real interesting one, and we get this a lot because people have heard about the Woodfix being used with beekeepers, it was if you're using Woodfix on a timber fruit bowl, a wooden fruit bowl, or even a carving board, and you wanted to preserve that, is it safe to use near food? And I can tell you 100% it is safe to use near food. As I said, there's nothing toxic that will emit back into the surface. So you must, when you're using it over any raw timber that you want to treat, like a fruit bowl that might have been made, or a carving board, let it dry first, let it absorb in, and I'll let it go for probably 3 to 4 days so you get a full reaction of it soaking in. And then you need to understand that if you're using Woodfix on wood or timber, you may need to finish over it with something else, because it will still absorb water over time, and that might create stains into the wood finish. But be aware of that. But if it comes in contact, if it's not a carving board, if it's a fruit bowl and you're just resting fruit in there. So even we've got some farmers now that take it in the industry where they're using on their timber crates where they've got fruit that they're collecting, particularly those organic farmers that are out there. And this is a safe way for them to store their fruit that's coming in contact with wood without any issues or concerns that there's going to be chemicals from wood preservatives back into the organic fruit, and that's a big plus. So for those of you who want to use it for those sorts of fruit bowls or things that come in contact with food inside the home, Woodfix is a safe product to use, rest assured on that. The other question that came through was about Patchett, and the Patchett question came through about, once you use it on a piece of wood, can you drill through it? Once you've used Patchett on any wood surface, it will be equal or superior to the original strength of the timber surface. So you can cut through it, you can nail through it, and you can drill through it. So what I want you to understand is that once you've down and you've patched that substrate, ensure that you let it dry. So before you start drilling through it, I let it go for at least 24 to 48 hours. It gets its full strength. And it also depends on how thick the area that you've patched. You can go from a feathered finish, like 1 to 2 millimeters with this product, right through to 20 or 30 or 50 millimeters of patching with it. And that's the big advantage of that. Had a question here about a veranda fascia boards that ends up rotting, and was going to replace it. I'm just going to see this question in more detail. Do I need to replace the whole timber fascia, or can you just try this product instead? Well, the advantage of this auto is that you can apply this directly to the timber fascia board, the veranda fascia. We do have a video on this, which I mentioned earlier, but remove all the loose timber first, remove all that wet rot that's taken out, let the surface dry out, treat it with a Woodfix first, and then you only need to repair the voids of the timber that you've removed with the Patchett compound. You don't need to go and worry about replacing the whole fascia, but I would suggest that before you do that, you do treat the whole fascia with a Woodfix, because if you only treat spots of the fascia with Woodfix, what you'll find is that you haven't got the full protection against fungus or any bugs or borers that can come in. So you can coat the Woodfix on the total fascia surface first. Obviously you've sanded it down so it absorbs in, and then that area where you've removed that rotted wood, that's where you use the Patchett compound. You may, depending on how deep that is, you may need to put a second application to smooth it off, but you'll find that once you've smoothed it off, you can sand it, it blends in with the original timber surface, it comes up a treat. I can tell you right now, I'm no professional tradesman, but I did this one and made me look like a professional tradesman when I was finished with it. And then a day later you can paint directly over it. And the beauty with the Patch It product is you can paint over it with an enamel paint or a water-based acrylic. It'll handle all types of paint surfaces or paint grades. Just obviously ensure that you check your paint instructions first, whether it needs a primer or not. If you really want good paint, contact Monster, because we've got the best paints in the market, and you can definitely paint over the Patch It product with our Monster paints. But today it's about the Patch It compound and the Woodfix compound. So I'm hoping you got value out of that, guys. If you've got any questions on this, please throw them our way. Our Monster crew are there to help you on any questions with Patch It and Woodfix products. They come in various sizes. We can help guide you on that. Otherwise, go to monstershop.com, and all the details on these products are there for you to check out on the different sizes of the availability. And like all Monster products, we can deliver them straight to you. Rosa, thanks for joining. If you've got any further questions, please fire them my way. Otherwise, as I said, don't be afraid to get hold of our Monster crew. We're there to help you with any questions you've got with these products moving forward. I'll see you next time.